Hi guys, today's video is an everyday makeup for mature skin. So that's why I have my model right here, which is my grandmother. So she will be my model and I'm going to show an everyday makeup on her face so that you can do it at home, and I'm going to explain it step by step. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button underneath. Thank you so much for supporting me, and now without further ado, let's get right into this video. For step number one, I'm going to choose the color correcting concealer wheel, which is this one right here from Ben Nye, and I'm going to cover up her aging spots, but you don't have to do it. This is an optional step, but this will give you a younger look because your aging spots are going to disappear. And I'm going to choose this pinkish shade right here because pink will cover up brown, and I'm going to use this concealer brush right here to apply it to her face. Since she has a few spots, I'm going to cover them up. And I'm going to use just a tiny bit of the color correcting concealer in the pinkish shade just to slightly cover them up, because I'm not going to add too much product to her face because she has a mature skin. So I'm going to use a little bit on her aging spots. And you can also blend it with the finger so that it melts in with the skin. You do not need to cover up all the aging spots, but I'm going to cover up the biggest one and also the darkest one so that I have a better contrast and also an even canvas later on with the foundation. Now for the next step, I'm going to use a little bit of translucent powder on a fluffy brush. It's a fluffy eyeshadow brush, and I'm going to dust it over the color correcting concealer, which I have applied before, to set the concealer so that it won't move when I'm applying the foundation. So now I have a little bit of translucent powder on the fluffy brush, and I'm going to dust it just a tiny bit on the areas where I just have to use the color correcting concealer to set this part, because when I'm going to apply the foundation later on, then it won't move, so that it still will stick to the aging spots. So now we can move on to the foundation. Now for the next step, we are going to apply a foundation, and I'm going to choose a lightweight foundation but still moisturizing foundation, because when you are aging and you have a mature skin, then it can happen that you have a very dry skin, so that's why it's important to use moisturizing products. So I'm going to choose this foundation right here on the foundation brush, and I'm going to apply it evenly on her face. So I have used a little bit on the roundish foundation brush, and I'm going to apply it little by little, and I'm going to blend it into the skin. So I'm going to distribute the product a little bit around her face, and then I'm going to buff it into the skin. I'm not going to use too much product on her skin because it can just settle into the wrinkles, and we don't want that. So just be lightweighted when it comes to a foundation. You can also apply it with your fingers, but because I'm doing it on herself, I'm going to choose a brush. But if you're going to apply it with your fingers, it will give you also an even coverage. And if you're using a brush, then you also can do circular motions to buff it into the skin. Now I'm going to apply some concealer under her eyes, and you can also add some concealer to the areas where you want more coverage, but I wouldn't use too much because with the wrinkles and if you have a mature skin you want to use less products. So I'm going to apply it right underneath her eye to cover up the blueness and the redness, and that's everything what I'm going to do with the concealer. And I'm going to use a damp beauty blender to blend it into the skin. So I'm going to apply it just right underneath where she has a little bit of eye bags. And I just want to add a little bit of coverage right here underneath her eyes to give her an awake look. And I'm also going to use the beauty blender now to blend it into the skin. And then we can move on to the next step. Now I'm going to add some translucent powder just where I have applied the concealer, so right underneath her eyes and also on top of her eyes, because these areas can crease quite quickly and I just want to prevent it. So that's why I'm going to use a medium fluffy face brush and also some translucent powder to set it so that it won't move. So now I'm going to take the fluffy brush and add some powder right underneath, so that the concealer will stay in place. And if it has creased already a little bit, then just use the beauty blender again and blend it back into the skin. And now close your eyes, Now I'm going to add a little bit of translucent powder on her eyelids because I use a little bit of foundation on top to even out the blueness and redness on her eyelids. And I'm going to apply a little bit of powder on top so that it won't crease. On the other side the same, and if it has already creased a little bit, use the beauty blender or the brush again and blend it back into the skin. And now we can move on to the face. So now I'm going to take a big powder brush and I'm going to add some translucent powder over her whole face so that it won't crease during the day. So I'm just going to dab it right into the skin, and it also will take the shine. If you like the shine, then you can also take some setting spray or just a little bit of powder, but this will also take the shine and it will stay on your face all day long. And now you can see that I have mattified the skin and now everything will stay in place. So now we are moving on to eyebrows, and since she has gray hair, I'm going to fill in her eyebrow hairs because she has nearly no eyebrow hairs. So I'm going to choose this shade right here from an eyeshadow palette. I'm also going to choose an angled brush to fill them in, and also a brow and lash comb. You can also choose a spoolie to just brush the color through her actual brow hairs. And if you don't know what color you should use because you have gray hairs, then just remember the color which you had when you were younger. And if this still matches for you, you just can use a little bit of product. You don't need to do harsh eyebrows, but just take a shade which you can remember and apply it to your eyebrows. So I'm going to start where her brow hairs are starting, and I'm just going to fill in the natural shape. So I'm not going to measure the 3 main points, I'm just going to fill it in just a little bit so that they're a little bit more visible, but still natural. So if you have nearly no eyebrows, then eyeshadow is a great solution if you want to fill them in. Now with her eyebrows, you can see that these hairs right here, they won't just lay down into the shape as I created now the shape with the eyeshadow. So I'm going to choose a little bit of hairspray on the brow and lash comb and just pray that this will be the right decision so that it will be just laid down. So I'm going to use a little bit of hairspray on the brow and lash comb You can also take this spoolie and then just brush through the hairs so that they are going to lay down into the shape you want them to. And as you can see, it did work. Like this. Now we can move on to some eyeshadow. So I'm keeping it quite simple, but still she has hooded eyes, so I'm going to use a technique from Unhooded Eye. So I'm going to choose this shade at first as my transition shade. This will be my main shade, and it will add a little bit more of darkness to the hood so that the hood won't be that visible anymore. Then this is my second shade to add a little bit more depth. And this shade right here I'm going to use on her mobile lid, and I'm going to apply it with the finger so that I will get the full shimmer out of it. And I'm going to choose these two fluffy brushes to apply these two shades. If you have hooded eyes, then always use matte shades on the hood right here. And these can be a little bit darker. I wouldn't go with black, but brownish tones which are matte, these are perfect for the hood. So when she looks straight at me, then I can see where the hood is, and I'm going to apply the shade right on her hood to darken it a little bit. Now she can also close her eyes if you want to. So, and because I know now where her hood is, I can apply a little bit of a darker shade on her hood, because darker shades will take back and lighter shades will bring forward. So if you have hooded eyes, always use a darker shade on your hood. And if you are doing it by yourself, then always make sure that you're looking straight into the mirror so that you will see where the hood actually is, because then you know where you should apply the darkest shade. So now you can see already the difference that I use a little bit of a darker shade right here as on this side. So this side you still will see the hood, and this side this will take back the hood so that it won't be that worse anymore. Now I'm going to use a second shade which is a little bit darker than the first shade, and I'm going to apply it just right here on her hood to add a little bit more depth to it. So the first shade I used on her hood and a little bit above towards the brows, and now the second shade I'm keeping it just as low as the hood is on her mobile lid. So when she looks straight at me, I can see that this part right here is the area where I'm going to apply the darker shade. And then you always can go back and use the first brush and just blend it into the other shade. And now you clearly can see the difference, that this side is darker so that the hood is less visible as on this side. Now for the third shade, I'm going to take this shimmery shade right here on her mobile lid. So I'm going to just stretch her mobile lid a little bit so that I'm able to apply it with my finger. And if you're applying it with the finger, then it will give you the full pigmentation out of it. And still, if you have hooded eyes, you can always use a little bit of shimmer on your mobile lid. And even if she will look now into the camera, and when she looks down or just closes her eyes, then you still be able to see the shimmer. And that's why I like to use some shimmer even though you have hooded eyes. So now for the next step, we are going to move on to mascara. So when it comes to mascara, you can take the normal one or a waterproof one. If you have a very watery eye, so that you're going to cry or just lose some tears every time you're going to apply something, or just because you have problems with your eyes, then I would recommend using a waterproof mascara. And if you're going to apply your mascara, then tilt your head back and apply it, so you aren't able to touch anything of your beautiful eye makeup because you are going to tilt your head back. Now with her eyes, she can look down so that I'm able to apply some mascara. So guck auf. So now I'm just going to take a little bit of her eye, like just stretch her eye, and then wiggle the mascara through her lashes. So now, even though she has very short lashes, mascara will play a big role and it will open up your eye. If you have longer lashes and you aren't afraid, you can also use a lash curler, but she doesn't like to use it, that's why I'm not going to use it, and she needs to feel comfortable. So you can also use a lash curler if this is your preference. Now we are moving on to lips, and I'm going to use a lip liner because she has a little bit of wrinkles around her mouth. I like to keep the lipstick on her lips so that it's not bleeding, so that's why I'm going to choose a lip liner. And then I'm going to apply a shimmery liquid lipstick that dries down so that she will be able to have it on her lips all day long. So with her lips, I'm going to follow her natural lip shape. Frosting lips inside. And she's used to use some lipstick, so that's why it's a little bit strange when I'm going to apply her the lipstick and not she on her own. But I'm just going to fill it in a little bit. Frosting lips in my mouth. So that when I'm applying the liquid lipstick, then it won't bleed because of the lip liner, and it's a waxy lip liner, so these are great if you have problems with bleeding when it comes to lipstick. I don't know. So, and now I'm going to fill it in with the liquid lipstick. So now I'm going to use the liquid lipstick, and it's a shimmery one. And also because this one dries down, it also won't move. If you have very dry lips, then I would recommend using before a little bit of lip balm. And now I did a little mistake right here. I'm just going to use a cotton tip, a clean one, and I'm going to wipe it away. But now she has a beautiful lip with a little bit of lip liner. Now for the last step, we are going to use a little bit of blush, and this blush right here has also a little bit of a shimmer in it. And I'm going to use a medium face brush, which is also a blush brush, and I'm going to apply it on her cheeks and a little bit to her hairline so that this will also sculpt her face. So I'm going to use a little bit. I'm going to apply it light-handed on her face, and this will give her also a little bit of structure. Now I finished off her makeup, and with a mature skin it's always important to use less products because it can settle into the wrinkles and then it won't last you all day long. It will look for the first hour beautiful, but later on it can melt off. So that's why I used just lightweight products on her, because this is so important when you have a mature skin, and it also should moisturize your skin, because the older you are getting, then your skin will dry out. And with her skin, she uses every day her moisturizer. Her skin is beautiful. She has a moisturized skin, and then you also can use moisturizing products, because then she will look beautiful and also healthy. It doesn't matter if you have a lot of wrinkles or if you have nearly no wrinkles. It's always important that you are moisturizing your skin when you are getting a little bit older. And now with her finished off her makeup, and she feels happy, I'm happy, and we are both happy. Now this is the end of the video, and I hope that you enjoyed watching this video, and thank you so much for watching and joining. So if you want to know on how to apply makeup or an eye makeup for hooded eyes, then I have this one right here. And don't forget to be subscribed to my channel. This is right here in the corner. Thank you so much for supporting me, and I will see you soon. Bye!